and we will be knowing why they are named as benign, why they are named as malignant, and in that also why they have been subcategorized, like why it's somebody some tumors are called sarcoma, why some cancers are just called carcinomas. Okay, so here is a case one. uh 1 second. So, a 40-year-old female comes with a large left leg mass, which is present for the 1 year, which is progressively increasing in size and painless in nature. On examination, mass is 15 into 10 into 5 centimeter, non-tender, no restriction of the movements. The mass is fixed to the Okay, the mass is fixed to the muscles, but there is no restriction of movements because on examining, the mass moves with the leg movements. So that is how we check that if it is fixed to the underlying muscle or the fascia. Okay, routine investigations may CBC is normal, TLC is also found to be normal, 10,000 temperature, she is afebrile, BP is 105 by 70. So in this question, I want you to think that a lady has this mass which has been progressively increasing in size, and it is present for 1 year, present for the 1 year. So what we did next step was we did an FNAC. So don't think too much about it, just largely broadly, can you see, can you find these cells, are these cells are normal or atypical, very ground basic thing, if anybody can attempt to tell, like what are you seeing in these cells? These are large and the nucleuses are large, they are hyperchromatic. So this shows that there is something malignancy is going on under the cells, and they are not normal, because normal cells have equal have NC, does not have high NC ratio. Okay. Is the screen visible? So what can you think of? It is benign or malignant? At least any one of you can attempt it. It is benign or malignant by seeing the nature of the cells on the sphere, by seeing that it is rapidly progressing, is present from the 1 year. No attempts? Can anybody tell? Malignant. Malignant. Yes. Okay. Okay. So now we will see what are the differences between the benign and the malignant. What are the features that we call something a benign, we call something a malignant. Okay. So there are features of differentiation. Upon the features of differentiation, we define it as upon depending upon the rate of growth. Okay, rate of growth, how the cells are increasing slowly or rapidly. Differentiation or resemblance to normal structure. See, whenever a tissue has a parenchyma and a stroma, so depending upon that, when the cells grow, we define it as if it is the parenchymal tissue is resembling, the tumor cells are resembling to those of the parenchymal parent tissue or not. So differentiation or resemblance to the normal structure. Spread to the surrounding structures, we call it as invasion. And spread to the distant structures, we call it as the metastasis. If it spreads along the lymph nodes, if it spreads along the adjacent structures, as we see in the like gallbladder adenocarcinoma, as it is in close proximity with the duodenum. So what happens is in the later stages, we can see that the carcinoma can be seen invading up to the duodenal wall retrogradely. So this is how we will discuss about later on ahead in this case discussion, that mets can be locally or locally invasive or by they can spread by lymphatics or they can spread by hematogenously, and grossly if we are able to see any hemorrhage or necrosis. On microscopy, pleomorphism is a feature that the cells are are pleomorphic. That is, they vary in their size and shape with each other. Mitosis, mitosis if present or not, high grade mitosis. Somebody is trying to proliferate. As we know, tumor has its clonal proliferation aggressively. So but the what is the degree of the mitosis, how aggressively it wants to enlarge or expand its clones. So that is why in a high grade tumor mitosis is high, sometimes atypical mitosis also can be. Then high nucleocytoplasmic ratio, that is we call it high NC ratio. So nucleomegaly can be seen in such cells. So how do we name a tumor? What are the nomenclature criterion for this? Can anybody now tell? Can anybody attempt? OMA for benign. Okay, very right. Yes, and there are exceptions also. Can anybody tell me some exceptions for this? Yes, epithelial origin, we call it carcinoma. Yes, meningioma, seminoma. Yes, is an exception. Melanoma. Yes, then all malignant instead of having the suffix oma in them. Yes, lymphomas are there. Yes. Okay, very good. Moving on. So depending upon the parent tissue, we name it as. So if it is a tumor that is arising from the fat, from the adipose tissue, if it is a benign, we call it as lipoma. The degree of the differentiation, what will be the degree of differentiation in these cells? Can anybody tell? Just now we have discussed about the differentiation factor. Can anybody tell me? In benign and malignant? Well, differentiation. Yes, yes. Because they will be resembling as like their parent tissue. Okay. And in malignant, like it is liposarcoma. So आगे we will discuss that sarcoma are the mesenchymal origin wala. ठीक है? Okay, well differentiated. Yes, very good. Now, some tumors, when they arise from the smooth muscles, then smooth muscles में benign, we call it as leiomyomas or the fibroids. Okay, so minimal mitosis can be seen either in their stroma, very minimal mitosis it can be seen because it is a growing tumor, but obviously not atypical one. And if we see the malignant entity of it, then they will be leiomyosarcomas. If it is of the vascular origin, if it is arising from the vessels, we will call it as hemangioma in benign, and in malignant, they will be angiosarcomas. If it is of a skeletal origin, if the tumor is arising from the skeletal muscles, then they will be called as rhabdomyomas in benign, otherwise embryonal rhabdomyosarcoma in malignant. If it is the intestinal type, if it is arising from the intestine has villus and glandular architecture. So they will be known as called as adenomas. They are benign, tubular adenoma, villus adenoma. And if the malignant, then adenocarcinoma. Can anybody tell me any other benign and their counterpart malignant tumor? Just like we have discussed some examples, like the parent tissue and benign and malignant from the same. So if it is arising from your respiratory epithelium, your tracheobronchial tree, then it is squamous cell papilloma. And the malignant counterpart will be squamous cell carcinoma. If it is arising from the liver, if the parent tissue is liver, then the cells are differentiating well, they're resembling just like their parent tissue, then there will be hepatocellular adenomas. And obviously, there is one exception here also, where there is malignant tumor hepatoblastoma. See, blast, when you see, it is always referring to the immature precursor of a cell. So here also it is telling in its name also, even though it is carrying the oma in its name, it is malignant. And there are also some other exceptions which are mentioned here, and you people have also told me that melanoma, seminoma, lymphoma, mesothelioma, these are all, in spite of having oma in their name, they are malignant. If it is arising from the bone, then this is osteoid osteoma, and malignant counterpart would be osteosarcoma or chondrosarcoma. See, osteo is like bone, bony part. Chondro means cartilage. So tumor arising, malignant tumor arising from the cartilage. Lymphatics, if it is arising from the lymphatics, then benign would be lymphangioma and malignant will be lymphangiosarcoma. So what are the molecular hallmarks of a cancer? A cancerous lesion. It is oncogene activation. We all know what are those oncogenes. That is, so the activation, they are self-activating. So cancer cells have the ability to activate these oncogenes and also to suppress tumor suppressor genes को inactivate करने की they have the power. Also, they have the ability to escape the apoptosis, because anything which is trying to proliferate in the body has this mechanism of this immune, this host का एक mechanism होता है that it tries to end it tries to control it. So it, as the tumor cells, they evade, they escape this phenomena of the apoptosis. Then the altered cell metabolism, this is the Warburg, which we call it the Warburg effect, which is seen in the cancer cells. Unregulated replication, angiogenesis, that is new vessel formation around the tumor, because when it is a highly aggressive growing tumor, it needs nutrition around it, oxygen, blood, everything it needs very aggressively. So small sprouts of blood vessels, they start to grow towards the tumor, and that phenomena is known as angiogenesis. And obviously the ability to metastasize, it has ability to spread its roots. So whether it can invade locally or by the vessel or by the lymphatic route or by the nerve, even around the nerve also. So when we talk about just about the malignant cells or the malignant tumors, they are carcinoma and they are sarcoma. Why do we call it? When they are arising from the mesodermal origin or from the connective tissues, we call it as a sarcoma. Otherwise, one of you very rightly said that if it is the epithelial origin, then it is the carcinoma, we say. So something about the nomenclature, just a repetition, that epithelial tissue carcinoma, they can be, if they are arising from the stratified squamous epithelium, then squamous cell carcinoma. If it is arising from the transitional epithelium, which is present in your urinary tract, the bladder, and the urinary tract, then it is transitional cell carcinoma. If it is glandular, then adenocarcinoma. Mesenchymal tissue, it gives origin to the sarcoma. So they can be muscle arising. It can arise from the bone, from the cartilage. In the muscle, when it is smooth muscles, they are leiomyosarcoma. If it is skeletal, then they are rhabdomyosarcoma. If the tumor is having both the components, epithelial and mesenchymal both, then they are pleomorphic adenoma. Like example, pleomorphic adenoma or the Wilms tumor. It has epithelial component also and the mesenchymal component also. So they are mixed tumors. So back to that question we had discussed. Just for the revision, old lady, 48-year-old lady was there, and a leg mass was there. And now we know how a malignant and benign grossly can be. Like we have read in the terms of differentiation, homogeneity, heterogeneous, hemorrhage, necrosis. So can you tell me? Can you describe this? So this was resected from her calf. So can anybody attempt in describing this mass? Can anybody attempt? How's the appearance, the gross appearance of this mass looks like? Variegated appearance. See, variegated appearance is when there is a mixture. Mixture you are getting in that fleshy appearance. Yes, yes, it is fleshy. It is fleshy. Yes, there are foci of necrosis and yes, fleshy areas of necrosis, hemorrhage. Yes, areas of necrosis are there. Yes, very well said. So it is a grey white fleshy mass which measures around 12 into 10 into 4 centimeter, and cut section has the areas of necrosis and hemorrhage. So when the HNE slide was made microscopically, uh, do just can you observe? We all know that nucleus of a cell is a basophilic. So in the slide, can you see this? There is more of a bluishness, more of a bluishness. What I want you to focus about it, that you can see hyperchromasia of the nucleus in this slide. Only notice about the hyperchromasia. And earlier we also discussed that there is MC ratio ka alteration, nucleomegaly. So just observe that there is nucleomegaly is happening and there is hyperchromasia also happening. And if uh, इसको थोड़ा सा और अगर ध्यान से देखेंगे तो somewhere around we can see mitosis also, but not getting into the technicalities so much. This is the hyperchromasia and the nucleomegaly which you need to observe about this tissue. So this is definitely a malignant tumor. So it was found. So microscopy, if you describe it, we can see that we see the anaplastic spindle cells, stretched out cells, some polygonal cells with hyperchromatic and bizarre nuclei. Atypical mitosis, we can see abundantly in this. Pleomorphism, there is high grade pleomorphism. No cell is looking alike each other. And tumor cells lack differentiation. We are not able to make out from which parent tissue it belongs to. So it was found to be pleomorphic sarcoma of the lower extremity. On further workup, IHC and cytogenetics was done. So it is your homework to know about what are the immunohistochemistries which can be done in a sarcomatous tumors, what are the intermediate filaments, what is the positivity. One I'm telling you, it is for the vimentin, other you will read up. So there is a case 2 also. A 40-year-old female comes with an abdominal mass, complaints along with menorrhagia with complaint of shortness of breath, chest pain, cough, and weight loss. No history of any allergies or asthma, no family history of TB. So that clearly rules out that she is not having any allergy, she's not having any tubercular reaction, and still on X-ray she is found to have bilateral pleural effusion with hilar lymphadenopathy, with menorrhagia and abdominal mass and coexistent bilateral pleural effusion, and which is bilateral. So in the surgery posting, you must be reading about the causes of the unilateral pleural effusion and bilateral effusion. So bilateral pleural fusions, and with no history of TB, no history of allergies. So it can have correlation with this. The tumor could have metastasized up to the lungs. On routine examination, CBC was found to be normal, TLC normal, Montus test negative. On USG, a 10 into 12 into 5 centimeter uterine mass was found. So when the USG guided biopsy was done, what we could see was spindle cells. Oh, the picture is not very clear, but plump spindle cells were seen, and here also we can see the hyper bluishness. There is more of the bluishness in the slide. So that clearly tells that there is hyperchromasia, and there must be nucleomegaly also. And on IHC, these cells were positive for actin, desmin, and negative for S100 and CD117. So this is your homework to read up about why we did CD117 and S100. So it was found to be leiomyosarcoma. We have earlier discussed that malignant tumor of the smooth muscle. So the sites, common sites are uterus, retroperitoneum, extremities, and it has tendency to create its mets. And the lady was having bilateral pleural effusion also. So let's talk about the modes of spread, how a tumor can spread its roots. So locally invasive, I have already given one example about the gallbladder adenocarcinoma, how it can invade the duodenal wall retrogradely. There is also one seeding of the malignant cells. Example, we can see in the cystadenoma of the ovary, the tumor cells, the seedlings of the tumor cells, they can travel up to the peritoneum, they can get localized in the omentum, and they can create malignant ascites and mets. Also, some of the fibromas of the ovary are associated with malignant pleural effusion in the lungs. And locally, if somebody has lung adenocarcinoma, then locally it can go up to the pleural, the pleura, and it can cause the malignant pleural effusions also. Primary is present within the lung, and it spread in the pleura, and there it created the effusion. In the testicular tumors also, that is why it is advised that FNAC should be done after a thorough examination of the scrotum, because there are many non-malignant, non-neoplastic conditions of the testes also. Can you name some? Can you name some swellings of the scrotum? Can anybody attempt, please? Benign conditions, benign swellings. Yes, hydrocele. And there is something related to lymphatics also there. Can anybody name it? Varicose veins. Yes, yes, yes. So grossly, when a patients come to us with a scrotal swelling, you don't know. You don't know until unless you do some tests. And you can, yes, yes, yes. These all can cause non-malignant swellings of the scrotum. Fine. But when you are the treating physician, so you will palpate the scrotum thoroughly. You will do the torch test, the luminescence test. You must be going on the surgery posting for reading up your clinical surgery in as das in our times you used to read. So in that, all those tests you perform, and all those tests are found to be negative, and you palpate a mass, which can be irregular or regular. So first first choice of investigation which any doctor tries to go for is FNAC, whether it is a lipoma, it is a ganglion, or anything. We don't know before doing FNAC. I'm just telling you directly that in lipomas and ganglions, first we prescribe FNAC. So in scrotal swellings, we have to be very careful, because if by doing this along the site of along the path of the needle, the tumor cells can get along up to the skin. The whole pathway can get infected by the tumor seedlings. Okay, so these are some of the examples which you can read in your books in detail. Bilymphatics. This is a lymph node which I have shown, and these are the afferent lymphatics, and these are the efferent lymphatics which are going through. So the tumor cells, when enter through the afferent lymphatics, can when enter into the afferent lymphatics, they reach up to the sinusoids, they reach up into the parenchyma of the lymph node, and then they can either they can stay up there itself, or they can travel through the efferent lymphatics and then further goes on by the pathway of the thoracic duct. They can spread to the systemic circulation. That is why when a tumor is resected, when a surgeon sends a frozen section, what is the purpose of a frozen section? Why the surgeon want to send a frozen section to a pathologist? Can anybody tell? Somebody finds a large mass in the peritoneum or in the abdomen. Okay. A surgeon finds a large mass. So he sends a frozen. Why? What is the meaning of the frozen section? If anybody knows about it, can anybody attempt? Anything, anything you can attempt of, think of, to know if it is benign or malignant. Okay. And why does he want to know it? Because as we read that malignant has the tendency to locally invade or spread out its roots locally where it is present. So that is why when the patient has been opened up, the surgeon wants to take out as much as tumor from the body. So that is why the sentinel lymph node biopsy is done, because tumor seedlings are found in the lymph node also. What is the sentinel lymph node? What is sentinel lymph node? Can anybody tell me? Like fat is not washed away. To diagnose lipoma, for assessment of lipoma, first lymph node involved. Yes, sentinel lymph node is the first regional lymph node in which that organ drains its lymphatics. First lymph node draining the tumor or that organ. Okay. So that is why the surgeon wants to do a frozen section of the nearest tissue and also the sentinel lymph node, so that he can do a radical dissection. We can take out as much as tumor and not leave it inside the body, because later on it can also spread. If you leave it, it will spread. It has tendency to spread. Yes, yes, you all said very rightly. Good. So a tumor emboli when enters the sinusoids of the lymph node and into the parenchyma of the lymph node, then through the efferent lymphatics, then through the thoracic duct, enters into the systemic capillary, and then this reaches to the metastatic foci in the target organs. This is a simple diagram which is illustrating the process of the angiogenesis. This is the tumor, budding tumor, and it needs nutrition. It aggressively needs more blood, oxygen, and nutrition. So the surrounding blood vessels, what they do, they release the sprouts are released from there, and these endothelial cells, they are coming from the marrow. So tumor cells, they release some enzymes and these chemotactic factors which induce this angiogenesis. Tumor angiogenic factors, some of them are tumor necrosis factor, FGF, fibroblast growth factor, VEGF. Some monoclonal antibodies are also targeted against VEGF now, like you have bevacizumab. This is angio invasion. This diagram tells about the angio invasion, how the tumor spreads into the blood vessels. Can anybody of you attempt for this diagram by looking at this diagram, what is happening actually? We all can see that there is a basement membrane, there is an extracellular matrix, there is an intracellular matrix, and there is vessel also. There's a big vessel जिसमें से बहुत सारी sprouts और buds निकल रही हैं. That we can easily tell that is angiogenesis हो रही है यहाँ पे. What else can you see? Metastasis of the tumor. Tumor cells are invading and metastasizing. Metastasis, mesenchymal, epithelial conversion. Okay. So what is basically happening is that the tumor cells are proliferating. This is the parent tissue where you can see here there is a bundle of the tumor cells which are doing their clonal proliferation, because these are tumor cells, they will never stop to grow. So what they do is there is loosening or the weakening of the बेसमेंट मेम्ब्रेन के सेल टू सेल अडहेशन का वीकनिंग हो जाता है. देन these tumor cells, what it does is that they invade the basement membrane. And why this get weakened? Because of the release of the metalloproteinases. ठीक है. Tumor cells, after invading, they reach up to the nearby vessels. Every tissue has microvessels, we all know. So after entering into the matrix of the tissue, it enters into the vessels. What we call it as? We call it as intravasation. Tumor cells are invading into the blood circulation. And after the tumor emboli along with fibrin and platelets, they travel along with the. अब ये यहाँ से ट्रैवल करके दूसरे डिस्टेंट ऑर्गन्स तक भी जाएंगे जहां जहां ब्लड सप्लाई जा रही है, तो वहां वहां तो मेट्स करेंगे ही करेंगे. साथ में व्हाट यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? यहाँ पे ट्यूमर सेल्स व्हाट दे आर डूइंग इज they are also breaching, they are causing breach in the endothelium of this capillary or the vessel, and they are coming out. They are they are so this is called extravasation. They are coming out of this vessel. तो इसमें क्या होएगा, जो आसपास के जितना भी सेलुलर मैट्रिक्स है, जो आसपास का जितना भी इसका एडजेसेंट ऑर्गन्स होगा वो भी अफेक्टेड होगा. लोकली भी जा रहा है, हेमाटोजेनसली भी जा रहा है यहाँ से, और जो एडजेसेंट वेसल्स है उनके अंदर भी जाएगा ये ट्यूमर. ठीक है. So there is breakdown of the extracellular matrix and intracellular matrix. Yes, tumor cells are entering into the circulation. They enter into the microcirculation and they are escaping they are escaping these are escaping the defense system. यहाँ पर इनको अटैक करता है बॉडी का इम्यून सिस्टम. So that is not enough to totally finish this, as we have read the property that they have tendency to escape apoptosis and also the immune system of the body. So they move to the target organs via extravasation. Metastatic foci बना लेते हैं. तो benign tumors की ये एक प्रॉपर्टी होती है that they do not metastasize. These are some of the examples where the tumor has been spreading hematogenously. It is suppose in breast cancer, what the mets can spread हो रहे हैं, they can spread via lymphatics also or via the blood vessels also. So the intercostal जो blood vessels होती हैं, they drain their tributaries into the vena cava. They can go via the vena cava up to the Batteson's plexus. What is Batteson's plexus? It is the paravertebral plexus, and it can go up to the vertebrae. And that is why these points, why are we reading कि ये कहाँ कहाँ जा रहे हैं? Because these points will help us in understanding that why do we ask the history of a patient, whether you have jaundice or not. Whenever a breast cancer patient, whenever we have a breast mass, we always take up the history as कि आपको चक्कर तो नहीं आते हैं या दौरा तो नहीं आता है या सर तो नहीं घूमता है. Why do we ask this? Because they can reach, or bone pains. You have backache, chronic bone pains or not? Because it can reach up to the CNS also, and it can reach up to the liver also. That is why everything has a logic. Why do we ask in history? Prostate cancer also they call the bony mets. Renal carcinoma ke mets, they go via the IVC and they are so deadly they can go up to the right heart also and to the regional lymph node also. In hepatocellular carcinoma, the mets can go to the regional lymph nodes. So these are some of these were some of the properties which we read about the malignant, benign. Why a sarcoma is sarcoma? Why carcinoma is called carcinoma? What are the properties of malignant cells and benign cells? Now we can see some the gross of the of some benign tumors. So this organ, can somebody describe this fixed mount specimen? What is it? Although it is written over here everything, but still I want you to attempt in describing it. Can somebody tell? क्या दिख रहा है अभी? So this is a cut section of the uterus, and it is exhibiting that the lumen of the uterus is well circumscribed, solid, whirling. Yes, yes, very good. With a whorled appearance, capsulated smooth muscle mass, whorled appearance. Yes. Characteristic is this whirling, very good. This whirling, can you see, totally obstructing the lumen, totally occupying whole of the uterine cavity. Yes. What is this? ये क्या है इधर? Can anybody attempt? Polypoidal growth, yeah. So this is basically outer, or this present on the outer aspect. So this might be subserosal. Fibroids का 3 locations होते हैं. Yes, very good. Subserosal leiomyoma. So leiomyomas are bulky, fleshy, vary in size, and homogeneous. This thing to be noted because they are benign, so they are homogeneous. The cut surface is homogeneous. No areas of hemorrhage or necrosis you will see. Tan, white, whirling, cross-silk appearance, and location is intramural, submucosal, subserosal. So typically they are well circumscribed, unlike the malignant ones. Microscopy में we will see the bundles of the smooth muscles with intersecting fascicles. There will be minimal atypia or no atypia because these are benign. So that is why, can you see, we are not seeing any bluishness, hyper bluishness, or any. This is a low power view, but still you can tell on this that there is no bluishness in this section, just like we saw previously. No bizarre figures, nuclei is normal. So this is a lipoma. Lipoma arising benign tumor from the fat. Can you see, this is all fat, yellowish fat, well encapsulated soft fat. And we will see the adipose tissue. These are the adipocytes, eccentrically pushed nuclei. Nothing abnormal in them. Nothing, no atypia. Nucleus, can you see the features? Just like resembling the parent tissue only. So that's why we can say it as a benign. Hemangioma, it is a common benign tumor, particularly of the childhood, localized, and may involve the large segments of the body. Can be superficial or internally. If superficial, involves head and neck region. What will you see in the microscopy? You all have seen these slides during a practical. Can anybody tell hemangioma में क्या दिखेगा? In the slide. Arising from the vessel. It is benign. It will resemble like its parent tissue only. Yes. Endothelium, small capillaries, blood filled spaces, yes, dilated blood vessels, multiple capillary channels, yes. You'll see with these features. Thank you. This discussion is ending over here. Please remember to do your homework, which I have told you about the IHC. You should be reading about the differences between carcinoma and the sarcoma, and the differences between the intervening filaments and the positivity for them towards the IHC. At least benign and malignant. The difference should be very clear. Thank you.